Greetings, everyone. It's time for us to have the audio note for the schedules of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949. So, we'll run through how the clauses are worded. It will be a perfect revision to plug in and listen on the go or whenever you have time. So, let's get started. First schedule, Part 1. This is for the professional misconduct in relation to CAs in practice. Clause 1 allows any person to practice in his name as a CA unless such person is also a CA in practice and is in partnership with or employed by him. Clause 2 pays or allows or agrees to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share, commission or brokerage in the fees or profits of his professional business to any person other than the member of ICAA or partner or retired partner or legal representative of the deceased partner or member of any other professional body or person having such qualification as may be prescribed for rendering such professional services from time to time in or outside India. That is clause 2. Clause 3 accepts or agrees to accept any part of profit or professional work of person who is not a member of ICAA, provided that nothing shall prohibit member from entering into profit sharing or other similar arrangement, including receiving any share, commission or brokerage in the fee with the member of such professional body or any other person having qualification as referred to in item 2 of this part. Clause 4 enters into partnership in or outside India with any person other than a CA in practice or such other member of professional body having prescribed qualification, including a resident but for his resident abroad would be entitled to be regarded as a member under section 4(1) subsection 5 or whose qualifications are recognized by central government or council for permitting such partnership. So with key point is with MBA and an engineer you cannot enter into partnership. Clause 6 solicit client or professional work directly or indirectly by CAPI, circular, advertisement, personal communication or interview or any other means. So this should not be done. Then Clause 7 advertises his professional attainments or services or uses any designation or expression other than CA on personal documents, visiting cards, letterheads or signboards unless it is a degree of a university established by law in India or recognized by central government or title indicating ICAA membership or of any other institution recognized by CG or council. Clause 8 accept the position as an auditor previously held by another chartered accountant or certified auditor having certificate under restricted certificate rule 1932 without first communicating to him in writing. Clause 9 accepts appointment as an auditor of a company without first ascertaining whether the requirements of section 139 and 140 of the Companies Act 2013 for such appointment has been duly complied with. Clause 10 charges or offer to charge, accepts or offer to accept for professional employment fees based on the percentage of profit or contingent upon finding or results of such employment except as permitted under any regulation made under the Act. Clause 11 engages in the business or occupation other than the profession of chartered accountant unless permitted by the council to do so, provided that nothing shall disentitle a CA from being a director of a company, not being an MD or a whole-time director, unless he or any of his partners is interested in such company as auditor. Clause, yeah, so that was about clause 11. Now moving on to clause 12, allows a person not being a member of institute or a member not being his partner to sign on his behalf or his firm any balance sheet, profit and loss, or report on the financial statement. So who can only sign? A CA plus a partner. A CA who is not a partner but employed, can he sign? No, only CA and a partner is required to sign. That was part 1. Now we are going to, that was part 1 of the first schedule. Now we are going to part 2 of the first schedule, clause 1. So this is about part 2, about professional misconduct in relation to members in service. So what clause 1 tells us that pays or allows or agrees to pay directly or indirectly to any person any share in emoluments of employment undertaken by him. Clause 2 accepts or agrees to accept any part of fees, profit or gains from a lawyer or chartered accountant or broker engaged by such company, firm or person or agent or customer of such firm or person by way of commission or gratification. So you cannot accept also from any fees or profit. So you cannot accept also. Fine. Or you cannot accept from a lawyer or a chartered accountant or any broker. Okay. By way of any commission or gratification, you cannot accept. So now there's a member who is guilty of misconduct, whether he is in whole-time or part-time employment, holding COP along with this employment. So having COP along with employment is also guilty. That's a point given in there. So this is about part 2. Part 2 we have 2 clauses. Part 1 we had 12 clauses. Now coming to part 3. Not being a fellow of the institute acts as a fellow of the institute. That is clause 1. Clause 2 does not supply information called for or does not comply with the requirements asked for. So clause 1 is not being a fellow, but he acts as a fellow. Clause 2 is he does not supply the information or does not comply with the requirements. That is clause 2. Clause 3. When inviting professional work from another CA or while responding to tenders or inquiries or advertisement through a write-up or anything provided in item 6 and 7. So that is advertisement or inviting, that part of part 1 of the schedule. He is giving information which he knows to be false. So clause 3 is which is going to be false. This is part 3. So we have 3 clauses. First one, when he is not a fellow but he acts as a fellow, right? Then he is not supplying information and does not comply with the requirements. The third one, he is doing that but he is giving false things. That is with regard to clause 6 and 7. So this is part 3. Now part 4. When this is clause 1. When he is held guilty of any civil or held guilty by any civil or criminal court for an offence punishable with imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months. Not exceeding 6 months. Not exceeding 6 months. Then clause 2, in the opinion of the council, brings disrepute to the profession or institute as a result of his action, whether or not related to the professional work. So in the opinion of the council, he is bringing bad name to the profession. So for 1 minute water break, and then we will continue with the second schedule. Second schedule. So professional misconduct in relation to CA in practice. Clause 1. Disclosures information acquired in his professional engagement to any person other than his client. So engaging him without the consent of his client or otherwise than as required by any law for the time being in force. So first is about disclosing information. Clause 2. Certifies or summons in his name or firm name report of an examination of the financial statement unless that examination has been made by him or by a partner or employee in his firm or by another CA in practice. Clause 3. Permits his or firm's name to be used in connection with the estimate of earnings contingent upon the future transaction in such a manner which leads to the belief that he vouches for the accuracy of the forecast. Clause 4. Expresses his opinion on the financial statements of any business or enterprise in which he, his firm, or a partner has substantial interest, which is 20% of interest or more. Clause 5. Fails to disclose material fact known to him, which is not disclosed in the financial statement, but this disclosure is necessary in making the financial statements not misleading whether he is concerned with the financial statements in a professional capacity. Clause 6. Fails to report a material misstatement known to him to appear in a financial statement with which he is concerned in the professional capacity. Clause 7. Does not exercise due diligence or is grossly negligent in the conduct of the professional duties. Clause 8. Fails to obtain sufficient information necessary for the expression of the opinion or its exceptions or sufficiently material to negate the expression of opinion. Clause 9. Fails to invite attention to any material departure from the generally accepted procedures of audit applicable to the circumstances. Clause 10. Fails to keep money of his clients other than fees remuneration to be expended in a separate bank account or use such money for intended purpose within a reasonable time. So this is about part 1 of second schedule. Okay, now we are going to see part 2 of second schedule. Here he contravenes any of the provisions of the act or the regulations or any guidelines which is issued by the council. Clause 2. Being an employee of a company, firm or person, discloses the confidential information acquired in the course of employment. So in the part 1 we saw it in clause 1 that he is disclosing. This is about the employment. So we are saying it in clause 2 of the second schedule. So clause 2 of part 2 of second schedule. So 2 is again disclosing, but this is about the employment. So except when required by law or permitted by the employer. Clause 3 includes any information, statement, return or form submitted to ICAI, council or its committee, board of discipline, disciplinary committee, quality review board or appellate authority, any particulars knowing them to be false. So there also we saw it in first schedule part. So we saw it in part, which part we saw? We saw it in part 2, right? there he is not supplying information. Here what he is doing, so that is clause 2 part 3 first schedule, he is not submitting the information. Here what is the problem is that here he is giving them false information. He does not comply with the requirements. He is giving a false information. And there the third one is he is giving again giving false information. Part 3 is clause 2 does not supply and clause 3 is false information. Here clause 3 of second schedule in part 2 is false information. Then clause 4 defecates or embezzles money received in the professional capacity. So that is clause 4. And part 3 is for other misconduct and where the imprisonment is for more than 6 months. It could be for both civil and criminal. Thank you. All the best.